chapter number 11, the first battle for independence. In the previous chapter, the advent of British Raj, we discussed about the arrival of Britishers, how Britishers came to India, how they captured Indian states. Britishers followed unfair policies such as the subsidiary alliance system and the doctrine of lapsing. As you all know that on 15 August, we celebrate Independence Day. Why do we celebrate Independence Day? Because on 15 August, we got freedom from the Britishers and the British rule. So, in this chapter, the first battle of independence, we will discuss about the fight of the Indian freedom strugglers against the British rule. Firstly, we will discuss about the causes that lead to the resentment of British domination. Firstly, we will discuss about the political cause. Considering about the political cause, as I told you that Britishers, they used the policy subsidiary alliance system. According to this policy, the British army will protect the Indian states from the foreign threats while gradually bringing them under British supremacy. So, the Britishers will protect the Indian states from the foreign threats, and the Indian rulers and the Indian kings, they will take the expenses of the British army on their own. This was the political cause through which the Britishers, they started entering the politic control of our India. Talking about the social cause. Social cause. Britishers, they behaved with Indians as if they are the second-grade citizens in their own country. Britishers never respected any other religion. They thought that their religion, the Christianity religion, is supreme over all the religions of the world. So they forced Indians to convert themselves into Christian, and they should follow and obey the rules of the Christianity. They forced the Indian people and the India for spreading the Christianity in the world and in their own religion. Talking about the economic cause. Economic cause, as I told you, that India was very rich in raw materials. Britishers, they used to take raw materials from the Indian states and they used to produce goods in their own country using different kind of modern machines. The goods they produced from the Indian raw materials, they used to sell those products in the Indian market at a very high rate. Hence, by doing this, they started capturing the Indian market. They gave the trade policies, unfair trade policies to the landlords and the other handloom workers, which led them towards the unemployment and towards the poverty. So the Britishers, they used unfair trade policies towards the Indian workers, hence leading them towards the unemployment and poverty. Last but not the least is the immediate cause. Talking about the immediate cause, as I told you that Britishers, they always used modern weapons and modern machines. When Britishers started ruling over the India, they brought some modern machines and weapons with them. Britishers came with the Enfield rifle weapon, and it has a cartridge which was made of animal fat or pig fat, or we can say cow fat. So, when Britishers started ruling, in the Indian army there were Hindus and Muslims, and the cartridge should be bitten off for using the Enfield rifle, which was against the religious beliefs of the Hindus and Muslims, as the cartilage was made of cow fat, and cow is a holy animal to the Hindus, whereas it is an abhorrent animal to Muslims, because Muslims don't eat non-veg, or they don't touch animal fat and all things. So the Britishers, they hurted the religious sentiments of the people by making the cartilage of the Enfield rifle with the animal fat or the pig fat. The main motive of the Britishers is to rule over the India by realizing them that they are the degrading person and they are the second-grade citizens of the India. So the political cause, having the subsidiary alliance system. Social cause, by degrading the Indians and spreading Christianity. Economic cause, by capturing the Indian market and making the Indian handloom workers and landlords unemployed. And the immediate cause was hurting the religious and sentiments by making the cartilage of Enfield rifle with animal fat. So this was about the causes which lead towards the freedom, which had the main impact on the Indians, which urged them, which boosted them to fight against the Britishers, their unfair policies and the injustice they do to the Indian people. So the next topic in the chapter, the first battle for independence, is the Bengal partition. So the Indian National Congress changed into a mass movement by Surendranath Banerjee and Sir Henry Cotton during the division of Bengal. The Bengal at that time was heavily massed and it covered huge mass area in the India. The Bengal at that time covered a huge mass area and it was getting very difficult for the Britishers to rule and control over the Bengal. So, the Lord Curzon, the Viceroy of India at that time, he proposed a policy. The policy he proposed was divide and rule. India was known for its unity. So the Britishers thought that if they will divide Indians, they can rule very easily. It was getting very difficult for the Britishers to rule over the large mass area covered by Bengal. Therefore, they divided Bengal into two parts based on their religions. They divided Hindus and Muslims in the eastern and western parts of Bengal. Eastern part of Bengal known as the Muslim East Bengal and the western part known as the Hindu West Bengal. So millions of people protested against this division and 16 October 1905 on which the Lord Curzon divided the Bengal into Muslim East Bengal and the Hindu West Bengal. This day was declared as Day of Mourning in Kolkata. 16 October 1905 was declared as Day of Mourning because millions of people protested against the divide and rule policy of the Lord Curzon. In order to form a bridge between the growing divide between the Hindus and the Muslims and to showcase the Muslim concerns, Salimullah Khan formed a Muslim League in Dhaka in Bangladesh. And because millions of people showed their protest and showed their unfairness towards the Bengal partition, finally both of the eastern and western Bengal was reunited on 1911. Even different protesters or the freedom strugglers such as Muhammad Ali Jinnah and Aga Khan, they also with Salimullah Khan joined the Muslim League showing the Muslim concerns. No doubt the Bengal was reunited in 1911 but people faced the consequences and the criticism or the in their thoughts their thoughts didn't match. They criticized each other on the basis of their religions and other things. Eventually, in 1947, the Bengal was again divided into the two different partitions. So this was the Bengal partition in which the Lord Curzon proposed a policy of divide and rule, divided the Bengal in two equal halves, the Muslim East Bengal and Hindu West Bengal. And after that they reunited but eventually they got divided in 1947. The next topic which we are continuing in the chapter First Battle of Independence is the Indian National Congress. The Indian National Congress, also known as the INC, was firstly formed on 1885. So it was formed on 1885. After the revolt of 1857 or the uprising of 1857, it led towards the formation of the first political party, the Indian National Congress. The Indian National Congress, the main members of the Indian National Congress was Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Dadabhai Naoroji and the Lala Lajpat Rai. They were the prominent thinkers and the most active social reformers. The first meeting of the Indian National Congress held on 1885. The main purpose of the Indian National Congress was to become the voice of the common Indian people to solve their issues and to make Britishers know about the unfair or the injustice they are doing to the Indian citizens. The Indian National Congress was the way through which the Indian citizens will feel their injustice and they will revolt against the Britishers. In 1907, a meeting was held in Indian National Congress and it was divided into two parts, the extremists and the moderates. The extremists, also known as the Garangal or the hot faction, this faction was led by the Bal Gangadhar Tilak. He was a very active freedom struggler of that time, and the other members of the extremist part was the Lala Lajpat Rai and Bipin Chandra Pal. The thinking of the extremists or the persons who were the members of the Garangal was they believed in the immediate action. They believed in violence, that they should show their violence or their revolt against the Britishers. They did not believe in peace and harmony. They thought that if they will revolt in the form of violence against the Britishers, this is the only way they can get the freedom from the British rule and the unfair policies the Britishers were applying on the Indian citizens. So this was the extremist members. Coming to the moderate is completely opposite to the extremist. Also known as the Narangal or the soft faction, the moderates, the command of the moderate part was led by the Gopal Krishna Gokhale and the other members were Dadabhai Naoroji and the Sundarnath Banerjee. They also known as the soft faction, they believed in peace and harmony. They thought that if they will work under the law or according to the law, they can get freedom. They thought that by praying and by signing petitions, they can get freedom from the Britishers. So this was the thinking of the two members of the INC, Indian National Congress. Firstly, the moderate, they thought that signing petitions and by prayers, they can get freedom. Whereas completely opposite extremists, they believe that the violence is the only way by which they can show their revolt against the Britishers and can get freedom. These all persons, the freedom strugglers, they helped India in getting freedom. They wanted to motivate the common Indian people to come and to stand and fight against the Britishers and their rule. So this Indian National Congress was the first political party which was formed in the Indian government and it was formed on 1885. So the last topic under the first battle for independence is the Swadeshi movement. The Swadeshi movement was initiated by Gandhiji. Gandhiji encouraged the Indian village domestic industries to establish and to produce the Indian goods or the Swadeshi goods. They encouraged the Indians to boycott the British goods. As I told you that Britishers, they used to take raw materials from India and produce goods in their country and then used to sell those goods in our country at higher rate. So, and the other landloom workers and the handloom artisans, they were all unemployed. So Gandhiji wanted to employ again to settle the economic conditions or to improve the economic conditions of the India. They initiated and encouraged the Indian domestic villagers to produce the Indian goods. As Gandhiji always believed in peace and harmony, he wanted to build a non-violent society. He was always against violence. As the foreign goods were boycotted by the Indians, the Britishers, they started losing their grip over the India. So as the Indians, they boycotted British goods, Indians started manufacturing their own goods. Indians started established a Bengal Chemicals and Pharmaceuticals, also known as Bengal Chemicals, in Kolkata. As the Indians refused to use the British goods, the Britishers they started using their grip over the India. Swadeshi movement was the first most effective movement which helped in the freedom against the Britishers and the British rule. It acted as a massive movement, a mass movement in the freedom struggle against the Britishers. Initiated by Gandhiji against the boycott of the British goods and by the establishment of the Indian goods, the Britishers they lost control over India. Economic conditions were improving, and the Indians started manufacturing their own goods. So, Swadeshi movement was the most important and massive movement which helped the Indians, which motivated the Indians, the domestic villagers, the domestic land industries or the landlords to boycott goods and to establish their own industries by employing the different persons and settling and improving the economic conditions of the India. So this was all. Good morning, students. So now we are continuing the another part of the chapter number 11, the first battle for independence. The next topic is uprising of 1857, or we can say the revolt of 1857, or Sepoy Mutiny or Indian Mutiny. Sepoy Mutiny or revolt of 1857 was started in the initial days of 1857, where people showed their resentment towards the British domination. As I told you that Britishers they came with the modern weapon, the Enfield rifle, whose cartridge was made with the animal fat or cow fat, which hurted the religious sentiments of the Indian people. Mangal Pandey was the first person to revolt against it. He was in the Indian army and he revolted against the cartridge to bite off the cartridge because it was against his religious rituals. So the Mangal Pandey refused to bite off the cartridge, and it was the first time when any Indian soldier or any Indian citizen revolted against the Britishers, their unfair policy. The news of the revolt of Mangal Pandey widespread very quickly, and in the different regions of the India, different places in India like Delhi, Agra, people started revolting against the Britishers' unfair policies, and they started marching on the streets showing their resentment towards the British rule. As a result of this, people marched towards the Delhi and at the Mahal of the Bahadur Shah Zafar, who was a Mughal emperor. And as a result of this revolt, Bahadur Shah Zafar was crowned as the Emperor of India. Because of that revolt that so many people were marching on the streets, it motivated Nana Sahib and Rani Lakshmi Bai to fight against the Britishers and their unfair policies. So, the Indian Mutiny, or we can say Sepoy Mutiny or Revolt of 1857, it began in Meerut and then it quickly widespread and it went to different states like Delhi, Agra, Lucknow and Kanpur. But this revolt was unsuccessful. The reason is why this revolt was unsuccessful, because the Indian leadership was very weak and unorganized, whereas the Britishers they were very equipped with modern techniques and they were very strong and they were very systematic in their work. Therefore, this revolt went unsuccessful very badly and it miserably failed. But it motivated, it ignited, it put ignition in the Indian people to revolt against the other unfair policies of the Britishers. Now, talking about the British East India Company, the British East India Company was replaced by the Queen Victoria. At that time, she was the Queen of England. So, the Queen Victoria replaced the British East India Company. As she replaced the British East India Company, she was crowned as the Empress of India. She removed all the members of the East India Company and she appointed viceroys, governor-generals of India at that time to govern India. So these were the main events which led towards the uprising and for the first battle of independence. Even after the revolt, when the British East India Company became more strong, Bahadur Shah Zafar was killed and exiled in Burma. His two sons were also killed, and Nana Sahib and Rani Lakshmi Bai both were also killed by the British East India Company. So they killed the main persons who acted very strongly against the British East India Company. Hence, the uprising of 1857 miserably failed. But this was not the end. The people, they started motivating each other that yes, if they can fight, then we can also fight against the British rule and the unfair policies such as subsidiary alliance and doctrine of lapse and the unfair trade policies the Britishers used to use. So this was the first event which helped the Indian citizens to stand against the British rule.